Competitive sports are fun because there are some rules in place to keep the teams in check. And if you don't know the rules, you might end up clueless. With the hockey season right upon us, there are a couple of changes that you should be aware of. But don't worry, we'll break it all down for you. Today, we will be going over the new changes in rules for the NHL 2022-23 season. Starting with the rule changes for NHL 2022-23 season. Fans need to know the new rules for the next season before they can enjoy watching their team put on the pads and skate toward a probable Stanley Cup quest. Aside from Rule 59, which mandated more stringent enforcement of cross-checking, there were no significant changes to the league this season. While last year's rule adjustment aimed to boost offense and decrease injuries, this year's shift focuses more on the officials. Officials in the National Hockey League will be able to overturn severe penalties because of new video review rules. Scouting the Refs claims that referees previously had two choices when reviewing a penalty on video: either affirm the decision as a major penalty or downgrade it to a minor penalty. A third option, the removal of the sanction, is now available. Moving on, here's why referees can nullify major penalties. Major penalties in the NHL may now be overturned by video review starting with the 2022-23 season. Previous to the implementation of Rule 20.6, referees might reduce a major to a minor, but not eliminate it entirely. The revised rule, as reported, is right ahead. So it goes something like this. The referee will have the following options after a video review of his own call. 1. Confirming his original major penalty call. 2. Reducing his original major penalty call to a lesser penalty. Or 3. Rescinding the original major penalty altogether. Finally, you have your answer. Now, if a lesser penalty would be appropriate, NHL officials may reduce the severity of a severe penalty or even cancel it altogether. Match penalties are excluded from the revision. Now, of course, this rule comes as a huge shocker for me, considering the fact that it gives a lot of power and authority to the referees, but we can only wait and see how it pans out during the season. Up next, some other deets for the NHL season. Hockey enthusiasts, the 2022-23 NHL season start is just around the corner, and it's time to start gearing up to cheer for your favorite teams once again. The 2022 NHL Global Series will kick off in Prague, Czech Republic, taking the show on the road for the first time. On Friday, the Nashville Predators and the San Jose Sharks will face off at the O2 Arena. When the NHL returns to North America next Tuesday, after a doubleheader in Prague, the season will officially begin. The New York Rangers, who finished second in the Stanley Cup playoffs, will face the Tampa Bay Lightning at Madison Square Garden first. After that, Crypto.com Arena will host a game between the Los Angeles Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. Not to mention, Matthew Barzal has some suggestions for rule changes too. Just a couple of weeks ago, in Las Vegas, Nevada, the NHL Player Media Tour took place, and the fans had a great time. The Media Tour is more than simply an early warning that the season is fast approaching. Plus, it has fantastic new material. Several notable players and coaches were there in Las Vegas to meet with media members, record podcasts, and otherwise contribute to improving the league and their individual teams. The Media Tour is great fun if you're a fan of the NHL. Nonetheless, it wasn't all jokes and frolics. Also, it sparked some deep reflections. ESPN polled several NHL athletes to provide their thoughts on which regulations the league should alter or eliminate. The most popular suggestion to avoid a shootout was playing 3-on-3 until a goal was scored. Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders had the most unexpected reaction. Reporter Greg Wyshynski claims that Barzal keeps a running tally of proposed rule modifications on his mobile device. However, he did note that 2 referees had been taken off the list. Barzal said that the league needs to come up with a way that there are only 2 refs on the ice. The referees are in the way all the time. There needs to be a method to have the game controlled without officials being in the way. It's always happening. Many of his online followers share his opinion. Journalist Eric Engels agreed as well, saying, "I've been saying this for years. The 2-ref system has only led to inconsistency in-game, and there's no room for 4 on the ice. Authorize the linesman to make certain calls, removing at least 1 body." Moving on to the 5 dumbest rules in professional hockey. At number 5, we have touch icing. How many more injuries will occur as a result of players trying to track down a puck for icing before the NHL decides to do away with this absurd policy? When the puck goes beyond the goal line, the whistle should sound to signal the end of the play. Does someone have to be killed trying to chase a puck at full speed into the boards for the NHL to make a change finally? Skaters reach record-breaking top speeds. There's a lot of talk about how speed is the foundation of the NHL, and yet the league still adheres to an antiquated regulation that might cost someone their season, career, or even their life. It's a regulation that has to be revised. Next, at number 4, the delay of game penalty. The penalty is quite annoying. Your team is exhausted and on the defensive shift. The defenseman has the puck and is attempting to clear the zone by bouncing it against the glass. When the defenseman gets beneath the puck, it rockets off the ice and into the spectator's seats. To delay the game, he will serve 2 minutes in the box. The similarities between the delay of game penalty and icing are what makes it so stupid. The puck's ultimate location makes all the difference. Both fouls unjustly interrupt attacking possibilities and occur when a player is attempting to obtain a defensive shift change. If a player sends the puck over the glass, instead of receiving a penalty, the linesman shall indicate a face-off in the attacking zone and deny the offending side a chance similar to icing. For anything that attempts to do the right thing, a 2-minute timeout seems excessive. Moving on at number 3, the puck shot penalty issue. It's okay if you want to try to send the puck over the side and out of play by shooting it off the glass, but it's not good to try and shoot a puck over the boards. How is that fair? Although we see the NHL's point, the current system is much too mechanized to sustain itself. If a goalkeeper or defender shooting the puck over the glass should result in a penalty, or whether the regulation should be scrapped in favor of a face-off in the defensive zone should be left to the discretion of the officials. Every time a puck travels over the glass, players either attempt to have a penalty called or try to dispute that a penalty occurred. There definitely needs to be a change here. Following up on number 2, instigating rule. Most fights in the NHL games these days are between two guys that either have to settle a feud with one another or are trying to jumpstart their team out of a funk, or just plain old do not like someone. Every time there is beef in the NHL, someone instigates it, literally every time. An example is Toronto's Luke Schenn taking exception to a massive hit and starting a fight. Do not get us started on guys who start fights with face shields on. Who instigated the fight? Abdelkader for throwing that hit? Schenn for not liking it? If someone just holds someone else and hits him, then the guy who pummels gets 5 minutes and the other one gets nothing. It has happened before, it will happen again. Refs are free to hand out penalties at their will, and it is hard enough to call the high speed of hockey without wondering who started it and punish them with 2 minutes in the sin bin. Finally, at number 1, the no corners for goalies rule. Seriously, this is absurd. If I understand the NHL's thinking correctly, they decided to forbid goalies from playing pucks in the corners so as to increase scoring. Is there any sense in this at all? First of all, the trapezoid is completely out of place on a hockey rink, and second, goalies are quite ingenious, so they've worked out that they only need to skate across and stop the puck before it gets into the corner or wait for it to bounce out of the region. How many additional goals have been scored as a result of this regulation in the National Hockey League? Taking away a probable 2-line breakout pass from goaltenders who are highly proficient at playing the puck, like Martin Brodeur, Rick DiPietro, and Ryan Miller, likely prevents more goals from being scored. The majority of goalies are competent puck handlers, so why would you take away thrilling pass-up ice? That's absurd, to put it mildly. That's a wrap for this video. What did you think about this new rule change? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.